Hello, friends, and welcome to another Feature Friday, Salesforce Data Matching and Deduplication Edition. On Feature Fridays, we dig into the details of some of the great new technology and capabilities that our development and product teams are cranking out here at Syniti. I'm Kevin Gully, the head of product marketing, and I'm pleased to be joined today by Brian Herring, the Vice President of Direct Solutions at Syniti, and formerly the COO at 360 Science, an enterprise-scale, AI-driven data matching and deduplication company recently acquired by Syniti. Thanks for joining me today, Brian.
Yeah, Kevin, nice to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. At Syniti, we like to say that the 360 Science data matching engine is the best in the world. And we'll be digging into why our Salesforce customers are so fired up about the new integrations with Salesforce that we're just announcing. But I was hoping that you could do a better job than I just did of introducing the Syniti Data Matching Engine, previously 360 Science. Explain why it's so well respected in the industry, and maybe talk a little bit about why our Salesforce customers are so excited about this new capability.
Sure, happy to do it. So 360 Science's mission, now carried forward by Syniti Data Matching, is to equip professionals around the world with data they can trust. People use our software to match, dedupe, unify, link, and harmonize the data that's most important to them. And we are considered the best in the world because we can perform these functions, right? Do these things more quickly and more accurately than in any of the conventional solutions available in the space. As someone who has a background in sales, I've used Salesforce at every organization I've ever worked for, and I've experienced firsthand the pain and troubles something as small as a deduped account can cause. And in fact, when I started with 360 Science 6 years ago, it was through the CRM lens that I was really able to appreciate the value of matching, right? Because I understood the pain of duplicate records. Ask anybody using Salesforce today if they have duplicates, and my money's on the answer being yes, right? There's never been an effective and easy way to address this problem, right? To remedy data decay as it exists in CRM. And so today I'm thrilled to be discussing that the world's leading matching engine now has a productized integration with Salesforce, making it easier than ever, for sales ops, revenue operations, Salesforce admins, and marketing to populate Salesforce with data they can trust.
I love it. So, let's jump in a little bit about that Salesforce connection. And maybe you can discuss a little bit about the challenges that are faced by our Salesforce customers and Salesforce users. I've been a long-time Salesforce user myself, and I've ran many data projects and have seen the pain of duplicates, but maybe you can talk about some of the challenges that makes Syniti data matching, and this integration so powerful.
Sure. So I touched on this concept of data decay just now, and this is a surprising stat. In a year, 30% of the data you have in CRM will decay, right? And that's because of the nature of CRM, right? We have a unique scenario where a lot of different types of users are going in and interacting with the data, right? BDRs, SDRs, salespeople, sometimes marketing, sometimes admin from a bulk load perspective. And all of these are opportunities for something to go wrong, right? So folks today are dealing with duplicate records, and that could be opportunities, that could be contacts, that could be accounts, it could be leads in the lead swamp, right? Trying to achieve a common view there. There's a lot of trouble bringing data from outside Salesforce into Salesforce in an effective and easy way where we're not introducing additional duplicates, right? And that can have a lot of impact downstream from a communication perspective. But there's also trouble around attribution, right? Today, there's generally a process within an organization. A lead comes in, it's qualified, worked, and eventually is converted to an opportunity. But that process isn't always upheld, right? Sometimes an opportunity is created without the lead being converted. And when that happens, we have broken attribution, right? So how do we solve for that? How do we make sure that marketing is getting credit for everything that they're driving? So these are a couple of the use cases that we've heard of over time that seem to be pain points for folks using Salesforce.
Terrific. Now, we've been talking a little bit about the 360 sign solution and the data matching engine, and how powerful it is. What are some of the things that make this a unique solution in the marketplace?
Sure. So I touched on accuracy before, and this is a big one, right? More matches, fewer false positives, full stop. Okay, so accuracy, more accurate than anything else available in the space. It's also incredibly easy to use, right? And so when we think about sort of product tenets and the way we want to bring our software forward, it's with accuracy front and center, but not at the expense of intuitiveness, right? I want anyone, regardless of their skill set or experience, to be able to pick up this software and use it. So it's extremely easy to use, accessible to a broad range of users. And that's extremely helpful when we have a lot of different people working within Salesforce. The last thing I'll touch on is transformation capabilities, right? So we can take a record structured one way, say full name, and transform that into a, let's say, title or salutation, first name, middle initial, last name, maybe a qualification. So however your Salesforce might be structured in terms of schema, right, around a contact or an account, we can actually transform incoming data in a way that it will be well received by Salesforce, which is unique for a matching engine.
For sure, very interesting. So, you touched a little bit before on some use cases that you've run into before. Maybe you can dig into that a little bit deeper and talk about some of the kinds of initiatives that businesses are undertaking when they realize that, okay, we've got to address this matching and this deduplication issue, in a meaningful way in an ongoing basis. So I was hoping maybe you could dig into some potential use cases that people may recognize in their own business that makes sense for them to start thinking about this kind of solution.
Happy to do it. So ABM, account-based marketing, extremely popular right now. But if we have duplicate accounts out there, that obscures our account-based view, right? So we may be collecting activity across several accounts that all belong to one, which can then inform the way we want to communicate that account or how we want to prioritize it. So deduping your accounts equals better ABM, right? Another real common example is bringing data from, say, a conference attendee list into Salesforce, right? So I went to a conference, I have the attendee list. We've communicated with some of these people. I want to determine who at this conference is already a customer and who isn't, who's a prospect, right? I want to be able to do that in a minute, right? So with our matching engine, you can make that determination and then inform the messaging that comes off of it, right? The last thing that you want to do is send a customer a message meant for a prospect, right?
Very true.
Happens all the time though, but it can be devastating. Marketing attribution we talked about, right? So in those instances where a lead is created and then an opportunity is created, but without the conversion, these two things that belong together are now disconnected, right? And there's really no remedy for that. But with a matching engine, you can actually see through the two and correlate the two together. So what once was broken can be mended with our matching engine, and that attribution then is held intact, right? So this is really important, when we're trying to understand where leads came from, what type of revenue did these leads drive, right? It didn't come from the ether. And then the big one, and this is one that's really close to me right now because we're going through it, is migration M&A, right? So I'm trying to bring a couple discrete CRM environments into one. And I need to be able to determine of 360 Sciences customers, who's already a Syniti customer and who's going to be considered net new, right? Normally, somebody's going to have to look at two tables side by side and try to eyeball this. And that process can take hours or days, depending on how much data that we're talking about. And I'm still relying on a person to do this, right? A person to recognize this.
A generally expensive person too.
That's exactly right. So with our matching engine, I can come to this conclusion. I can answer this question in minutes, point it to the table, press play, and you're done.
Love it. So, you were talking a little while ago about sort of ease of use and people being able to jump in and take advantage of the solution quickly and easily. Maybe you can give an idea of the types of users who are generally taking advantage of the Syniti Data Matching engine inside of companies and what their roles are and their responsibilities.
Sure. So I see sort of two categories of users. One, maybe more technical. So this is going to be your Salesforce admin or steward, right?
Mm-hmm.
A second category user, and not always less technical, but sometimes we see folks from sales operations or revenue operations. We'll see folks from sales, and we'll see folks from marketing, right, that are trying to make use of and make sense of data within Salesforce or data outside of Salesforce that they want to compare to Salesforce.
Yeah, it makes sense. So when it comes to, I'd like to finish up this conversation by talking about benefits, right? Because obviously there's a lot of benefits of making sure that, the use cases that you were highlighting are sort of executed on and people are able to work with that clean and trustworthy data. Let's talk a little bit about some of the users you were just talking about and maybe some of the benefits that they're seeing specifically. And then we'll finish it by talking a little bit about the benefits to the overall companies.
Yeah. So, and you just touched on this and you said something that is absolutely true, right? So by making this really accessible and easy to use, sales operations, revenue operations, marketing can now perform some of the functions that beforehand we had to rely on a technical resource to do, right? So it's more accessible and that gives the organization more agility. We're no longer, at a place where we have that bottleneck at a technical resource that generally has a lot to worry about, right? So more people can take on this task. For those technical resources, though, they're able to perform this function more quickly when it is their responsibility. So we're eliminating that bottleneck from a couple different perspectives and trying to make the best use of folks' time, especially those prized technical resources.
Terrific. And so just last question is, when it comes to the company, and accomplishing this and finishing these things up, what are the kinds of benefits that they generally can see, and how do you usually talk to them about the kind of things that they might be able to expect, or how they can judge sort of the upside of this kind of solution?
Sure. So organizational value and
Right.
And where can we extract it? I mean, part of it is the people, right, that we just talked about. So more accessible, easier to use. We're not going to be dealing with these bottlenecks and from these technical resources. That is important, right? There is people pain that we can address there, and that does benefit the organization. But more broadly, from an efficiency perspective, fast and easy means faster time to insights, right? More answers more quickly. And that means more informed decision making, right? So we can be more strategic and we can be smarter about what we're doing. But I think when we're talking about Salesforce, the proof is in the pudding. And I like questions like, what does it mean if I no longer have duplicates, right? And we can take that down to a really tactical thing. Well, like I said earlier, it means better account-based marketing. Okay, account-based marketing can be more accurate and effective. What does it mean if I can bring Salesforce, or I can bring data into Salesforce and have a much higher degree of confidence around the associations that I'm making there? Well, that means better messaging, right, to specific individuals. That means more relevancy around the messaging that is going out, right? What does it mean if I can clean up the lead swamp, right? And everybody has this, right? There's just a pile of leads that occurs over time, right? If I were to achieve a common view there, I would have a real clear and crystal clear view of the interest that's been generated over time and what's working and what's not from a marketing perspective, right? So all these things lead to more at-bats, right? More closed-won opportunities, and at the end of the day, more revenue.
And that's what we're all looking for, I guess, right?
Right.
Well, listen, Brian, this has been terrific and a great overview. We're really excited about this new Salesforce integration and being able to bring this additional value to our existing Salesforce customers and all Salesforce users out there. So appreciate your time today. We'll have more follow-up conversations about these capabilities in the weeks and months ahead. And for more information, you can always visit Syniti.com, our spanking new website. There's a great solutions page highlighting the Syniti Data Matching capabilities. So again, thanks for your time, and look forward to speaking again soon.
Thanks, Kevin.